Hey guys, and welcome back. So this is a little bit different. I've had some gear brought in by a mate of mine who runs a local garage, and he says that the battery in it got replaced a couple of years ago and now it won't turn on again. So I'm going to take you a little look at this and see what's wrong with it. And he also said, even if it doesn't work off battery, can we just get it to work off of the power adapter or a power adapter if it's plugged in, and then they can use it that way. They don't actually need to worry about the battery and it being portable. So I'll switch you over and stick you on the overhead camera. Grab yourself a drink, a few little snacks, and a comfy chair, and let's have a look at it. So guys, here we have it. This is a multi-corp bore camera, and it's like a little fibre optic camera. This then screws into the head of this, and the camera is for looking down the bores of engines to see if there's an issue in them or something's broken inside them or scoring in the bore and that sort of thing. So it's a sort of piece of kit they use, but not very often, and it's to the point that if the battery doesn't work, they can't use it. So he wants me to mod it so that at least when they use it, it turns on. Now he said to me it doesn't turn on at all, and when I had a look at it before I started turning the camera on, I pushed the power button and it turned on, and it came up and I set the date and the time and all the other bits, and I thought, yeah, that's all good. So I powered it off and that won't turn back on again. So it could be the battery. It could very well be the batteries in it. So I'm going to open it up and have a look and see what the batteries are like, and if the battery's not got enough charge in it, put some charge in the battery and then see if it turns on and off fine. And if it does, I will check the charge circuit in it to make sure that it is getting charged through the side to charge the battery. And if it's not and the battery is dead, then I'm going to look at setting it up so that we can just use a jack from off the side here, over the side. That's a DC input, and that's a battery input. That's what I don't know. I don't have the manual on this, so I can't tell you. That is for a CF card, I think it is. And this side is for USB, so you can dump it into a PC and that sort of thing, so you can output it. And there's a knob here which is just your brightness, and then you've got menu controls is up and down, OK, escape to go back, and then the big button is take a picture, and the small one is to make a video of what you're seeing, and then the power button there, of course, and on the back there's a reset button if things go haywire for you. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have a look at this, and I'm going to unscrew it now and find out what's wrong with it. Right, so one dead battery, one replaced battery. Let's check this battery. Now it's a 3.7 LiPo, so it's not the easiest to get a connection on. And that's reading nothing. Now I don't know if that's because I'm not getting a very good connection on it, or whether it's the battery itself. So what I might do is I have to work out whether this is a positive inner or a negative outer. I think this is a negative inner. The and positive on the outside. I'm not 100% sure how that way works. So what we'll do, stick it on continuity, and we'll touch the pin and see which one goes to the battery and to which one goes where. No, there's none of those. That's probably power. Well, that's the centre one to there. So it must be centre earth then, I'm thinking. Okay, so that's the centre going off to the side here. I'm wondering if there's a problem with this power jack. Alright. I think we will put some power into this and see how we go. And just put a under. It's a 3.7 volt, 2 amp, almost a 2 amp battery. So I think if I just pop these off and take it out, then I can clip the ends of the power supply onto it and charge the battery up. And if the battery charges up and stays charged, then it's got to be to do with the charge circuit. Now I must mark these so I know which one is which. I'll put this one on this side so I know that. I'll put the silver on that side and I know that that is the power side. That's the red one on that side. Okay, got my leads, and I'm just going to use these ones with the little wee hooks in them. And so the yellow one is positive. And if I have too many issues with this, I will put them on the alligators. Just that these are a smaller clip and these will be easier to hook onto it than the alligators. Less likelihood of damaging them. So turn this right down and we'll turn her on. And I just set it at 3 volts. It's at about 2.9, I think it is at the moment. So I'll leave it on that and see how it goes. It doesn't say it's drawing any current, so try going up a fraction. I'm up to 4 volts and it's still not saying it's drawing anything. I wonder if it is the battery that's gone. Now it does say it's up to 5.5 volts, so I don't know if that's... yes, it should be drawing something by now. I'll drop it at 3.6 because it is a 3.7 battery, and we will see how we go with that. Now this could be part of the charge circuit too, and it could be a sense wire. So it needs to pick up something off the board to tell it to go into charge mode. We'll see how it goes. If not, I'm going to have to undo the battery and find out. But what should happen is if this slowly charges, the voltage will drop. I'll leave that to one side and leave that to do its thing and see if it's going to put any charge in it. And what I'll do is now I'll have a look at this and I'll sort of see if there's a way I can look at powering this up without having a battery in it. And I think this being 3.7, what I'm probably going to have to do is maybe get an adjustable voltage regulator, a little voltage board to go in the back here, and then if we're not going to use the battery, I can stick it where the battery is inside the case and then make a plug up for it to go onto here, and then take the input leads for say 5 volts or 5.5 volts and tab them onto this, onto the power inlet, and then when this is plugged in it'll put the 3.7 volts into here, and then that'll do its internal regulations, etc., and do the rest of it. And it will also give the 5.5 into here and run whatever this needs to run if it's got power plugged in. But what I will do is I'd make sure there's diodes on it so the power can't come back into the circuit, it can only go out. That's what I'm picking. It's something along those lines. The other thing I will do is I'll take this bottom board out and just make sure the switches are okay, because this did turn on, but mind you, as I say, this says that the battery is flat. I'll take this out and just check these switches anyway, because it could be an issue with the switches. I'll get the multimeter and we'll just check that to make sure it is pulsing when it's pushed. Yep, so that is working fine. So there isn't anything wrong there. So it's got to be something to do with the battery then. Because all that does is that just travels up here through a resistor, down through this cable into the board. So I'm picking it probably is the battery that's got an issue. Alright, so that's all good, so we can pop that back in now. It's just worth checking because sometimes I've come across problems and they have not been what I thought, and they have actually been something else. But that definitely doesn't look like it's taking any charge at all at this stage. So what I might do is pop the tape off it and see if there's a way to directly connect to it and charge it that way. And then we'll see if it's going to hold charge or not. And if it doesn't hold charge, as it says, we're just going to have to work out a way of powering it without the battery, which he's quite happy to do. As he said, he doesn't need the battery, but that's actually quite a small battery too. And the problem is like they use it probably a couple of times a year if we're lucky. And with lipos, unless they're maintained and kept charged, if they're discharged, for too long, that's it. It's no good to you. They actually die. This one hasn't swelled, so I don't think it's an issue with overcharging. Yeah, so that's just not doing anything really. No, we'll turn it off and I'll open this up and have a look. Right, and I've hot glued this in and probably put some stuff on the back of it, double-sided tape on the back, I would say. Feels like it. Either that or they've put hot glue on the back of it as well. Yeah, double-sided. Can hear it giving way. Yep. So I thought I've used double-sided tape, and that's just to stop it rattling around. Right, so this is going to be the fun part, is opening this up to see what's what. And the little circuit boards they have underneath these are for the charging, and so they don't get overcharged, and they're not meant to be able to get out of balance. But as I have found, some of these imported batteries, you're lucky if you can get one charge out of them before they bloody die. Okay, so that's one end of it down here. Okay, find out how this is wired up. So what do we have here? We have one end here and one end here. There's a terminal at either end of it, so I take it that's probably negative that end, positive that end. Well, that tells me there's 4.9 volts there. But that there's nothing coming out of it. Well, that does now. That now tells me there's 5 volts there. I wonder if there's something going on with the connections on this battery then. I'm wondering if there is, because that's saying 3.9. No, that says 3.9. So that should be putting power back into the battery, the way I had that clipped in. And it's not. So let's try this then, shall we? Try putting that on here. And that on here. I'm just wondering if it is the circuit that's got a problem. Circuit board. Turn that right down. So I'm putting 3.8 volts into that. quite see that. That's 3.8 volts. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. At times I'm losing. See, a lot of it depends on how I push on this board. I wonder if there is a break in these tracks somewhere, or there's a break in the contact. So what we'll do, I wonder if it's that fuse that's gone then. What I will do is I'll clip it on this end, and I just want to bypass, because that's a fuse, I think, that little white thing there. And that's meant to protect it so that if it gets too much current rushing through it, it shorts and blows. Try and get that on that metal. Right, both of those are on. Let's try it and see what we get. Still no current draw on the battery. Let's make sure we are getting power to it, shall we? Yep, that says 3.8. Okay, my bench power supply says 3.7, but it says 3.8. So I'm wondering if this has got an issue, the charge controller. I'm wondering if it has. So I will turn this off. I'll try and connect this on a bit better. We might be able to do it with these ones actually. On there. That. I go that one on here. On there. Under here. Right, so we've got both of those on there now. I set the 3.9 because it needs to be slightly more for it to charge. So you can't put the same voltage in, because once it reaches that voltage it'll sit there and it won't go any higher. I think these fully charged, they sit at around about 4.14 or 4.1. I think they sit at around about 4 or 4.1. So yeah, this was done in 2020, so 5 years ago. So if it's been sitting around uncharged for quite a few, for a year or two, then yeah, that battery's going to be toast. And if it is, then I can desolder the plug off here and use it to put in for a circuit board. I just have to have a look, see what I've got. I think I do have some adjustables, but I don't know if they'll go down to the 3.7 that we need. They will take the input, they'll take up to 12 volts in, and you can adjust the output on them. Yeah. Alright, so that's about all I can do with this one, so we'll leave it charging for a little bit and I'll come back and check it. Alrighty, so I'll see you then. I've taken it off the battery, and now if I push it and hold it in, it boots up. And it comes up with 1 bar off full, so I'm picking that's not much we can do about that with the It's just showing us the battery there. And if we turn it off, it goes off. You push it and hold it on. Count to about 5 or 6, it comes on again. Alright, so that seems to be working fine. And the power supply is actually turned off. So this is actually sitting at about 3.8 volts, I think it is at the moment. So it seems to be working now. I must find out from him if he's still got the original power pack for this thing. So so we can make sure that it's set up to charge it and make sure that that charger is working okay. So, and what I'll do is I've actually got some more tape as well, and I will just re-tape this battery up before it goes back in. So that looks like it's going, and I will stick that in with the new one as well. So that looks like it was a fairly easy fix. I'm picking that this one is that the battery got too flat and it wouldn't turn on because the battery was too flat. That it seems to be working fine now. I've left it on and pulled the power up a bit. I'm picking that's our issue. It may not be. There could be another issue on this. I mean, I will play around with it for a little bit longer before I give it back to him, and I might do that this afternoon. And that way I can see if he's got the charger for this too, and if he has, then I can see if it'll work with it plugged into the charger. So I'm just getting all this plastic off of this so I can stick it back on the battery. Alright guys, so that looks like this is all working now, and I can get it back to the customer. So that was quite an easy little short one to do, and yeah, something different. As I say, you know, I get different stuff all the time. It just depends on what comes onto the desk at that stage. So I will tape all this up, I'll stick that on, and then we might have a look and see what it looks like through the camera, eh? Sounds like a plan. Alright, just give me a few minutes and I'll stick all this back together. Okay guys, it's all back together now, so that's the little snake camera end. And turn it on. Boot it up. Right, and as you can see, there's the picture there. I'll zoom you in a little bit so it's not so far away. Okay, so there you are. It's a bit better picture. And so that's the camera. So this is what they use when they're looking inside your cylinder heads and things like that. And on here it has different things for, you can rotate the images around, and it rotates it in 90-degree increments. And then on top of that you have a plus and minus, which I think that is zoom in and zoom out. And then you also have the light. You can turn the light off, turn the light on, and then I think that is, not sure what that one's for. It might be for infrared. So, but yeah, there's lots of things you can do with it. There's things, I haven't had a really good play with this thing. But yeah, it's quite a neat little thing. As you can see in there, there's the shining of the lights that are on the end of it, little LED lights. You can turn them on, turn them off. You can see it goes a lot darker with them off. So yeah, so that's what this is, guys. It's a handheld bore examining tool for a repair garage. And it's all working, so I'm going to take this back to him and drop it off to him. I'll put the screws back in first, of course, and I think he'll be happy that's going, because he said to me, oh well, if we need to, it looks like we're going to have to buy another one. And these are not cheap, guys. These are good, generally good quality ones, and this is a multi-corp one by Repco, and they're not cheap to buy. So yeah. Anyway, it's only 4K though, I think it was. I think, well, it might be 2K. Resolution, whereas the new ones now be 4K or more. So yeah, so the newer ones would be more high tech, but this does exactly what they want. Alright, so I think that's the end of this one. As I said, I'll put the screws back into it and give it back to him. Alright, so we'll see you soon. Well, there we go, guys. So that's another one. That was something a bit different. Yeah, taking my jersey off. But yeah, that's something a little bit different for you, rather than the run-of-the-mill PC stuff. And quite a simple one. And as I was expecting, it was left so long that it had gone flat enough not to want to turn on. Whereas now it does. So I will take this and as I said, give it back to him, and he'll be happy, and he'll sort me out, and I'll be happy. So guys, that's the end of another one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Something a bit different. And as I always say, have a great day, have a great week, and until next time, ciao.